Will women ever win the race for equality in sport?
Since my first match, I heard horrible things like dirty whore or you have nothing to do here. Hockey is a man's sport. Go back to the kitchen.
We are put on trial for being incompetent regardless. Because you're a woman, you're not competent to start with. It's up to us to demonstrate that we are competent for a man you don't even ask.
I was 9 years old. I wanted to start ice hockey in my club, and I was immediately told that girls and boys couldn't go on the ice together.
Gender equality is still an obstacle course. Despite the lockdown, we are living for a mini Tour de France in order to meet the women who are making a difference in their disciplines. Audrey Cordon-Ragot is the French national road race champion. She doesn't only ride to win, but also to promote the position of women in cycling. She explains discrimination is very deeply rooted.
Today, we continue to sign amateur contracts as women within the French Cycling Federation. This doesn't happen for men who sign professional contracts. We're just asking for our real value to be recognised in order to make cycling our job.
Audrey is among the founders of an association that protects women's cycling rights, and she has chosen to race for a non-French team, Trek Segafredo.
Racing for an American team helps me to move forward and see things in a different way compared to what it would have been like if I'd stayed in France. We all know that English-speaking countries are ahead of the game in gender equality. Being part of this team shows my open position on this matter, and it's a way to defend it even more.
Sexism in sport can range from subtle psychological pressure to physical violence. Those who dare to speak out risk isolation. It cost Charlotte her job as an international ice hockey referee. Today, she works as a national handball referee.
The more I accomplished, the harder it was to cope. During training, a ball could be thrown violently at me so that it would hit my head, or I could be pushed into a difficult position. Everything focused around my gender again. It went from how many kilometres of I had to suck to go to the Olympic Games, to discrimination in changing rooms where nobody talked to me.
Charlotte worked as an international referee in ice hockey for 10 years, including 7 in the top French professional male level. She refereed 6 World Championships and 2 Olympic Games, Sochi and Pyeongchang.
It's not me who decided to put an end to my career. This right has been taken away from me since I spoke out at the 2018 Olympic Games. I brought to the Federation's attention that I was a victim of discrimination, both in the game and in the management of my career. I reported the discrimination, sexism and sexual abuse against other referees. This is when a well-coordinated silence started against me. I was clearly told that the victim was not me, but the institution I was accusing.
Sport has traditionally been a man thing, both in terms of participation and decision-making. Women's representation in EU sport federations is around 14%. Studies reveal that a minimum of 30% is required to make a difference. Béatrice Barbus was the first French woman to lead a professional male sport club and is now General Secretary of the French Handball Federation. Not an easy task, as she explains in her book, Sexism in Sport.
I realised that on many occasions you would be treated as unqualified or discredited or humiliated, your value diminished. You're always brought back to your gender.
The sociologist supports the 2014 French law establishing that sporting federations that have at least 25% female members need to have 40% of women in their company boards.
You need women at every level of the sports pyramid. It can be imposed by law. It has to be imposed by law, not only in France, but also in Europe. Yes, you do need quotas.
Our road trip continued to Paris, the heart of the French media industry. Here, athletes can be turned into celebrities or sink into oblivion. Women's sports events account for 15 to 20% of media coverage in Europe, with print being the most male-dominated. We met the director of L'Équipe, the French privately owned sports newspaper and TV channel.
It's true that if you consider the past 4 or 5 years, we've covered female sports events a bit less, apart from football and team sports, because there are fewer female champions today in French sport.
In August, L'Équipe was criticized for leading with the Tour de France and not with the French Olympique Lyonnais female team winning the 5th Champions League title in a row.
It's a question of news hierarchy. We did publish the story and it made the front page. We did a big banner. I don't wake up in the morning saying that I have to seek equality between male and female sport. What makes women's sport more visible at the end of the day is the performance of our teams. We've been criticised for not having opened with the victory of the Olympique Lyonnais female players. But the public service broadcaster didn't show the match either.
Effort and determination have started to pay off. The situation has been steadily improving on all fronts, despite barriers still existing, like the difference in pay. Claire has been fighting since 2015 for a female Tour de France, and it's going to happen. The race will be back in 2022. Her project, Donnons des ailes au vélo J-1, played its part.
It's a real outcome for us. We know it will bring fresh oxygen into female cycling in general. It will have so much visibility that it will automatically attract more sponsors for the teams. This will allow them to structure themselves better and to pay our female cyclists more. It's a virtuous circle.
Claire's project has taken a growing peloton of female cyclists along the Tour stopovers one day ahead of the official competition. Now they are training hard despite COVID restrictions.
The idea is to make cycling more accessible and to show we all have a place on a bike.
Women have realized they need to stand together to win the race to equality in sport. Creating a network across disciplines has become crucial to gain a level playing field where there's no room for sexism.